So I have had an interesting week. Our internet has been going in and out. It's currently dead right now, so I have no internet connectivity. Luckily, I don't need internet connectivity to record this. But yeah, there's that. I've been dealing with sinuses all freaking week. They just kind of sparked up. I had a fever in the middle of the day that just randomly developed on Wednesday. So yeah, it's been an interesting week. But the good thing is that I'm going on vacation today in 3 hours exactly. So I'll get to get away a little bit and kind of just relax, have fun. So this episode is going to be different. This episode of the Cinema Lounge. Yeah, I just realized I forgot to do the intro, but that's okay. Welcome to the Cinema Lounge, where we chill and talk about movies. I'm your host, Garrett. And today is going to be a very different episode because I did not have the time, nor the internet connectivity, nor anything else to do this week in movie news. We're not talking about a movie today just because I kind of want to keep it short and sweet and simple. So, yeah, it's going to be all over the place. But there are some news that I did want to shout out, just because this was a relatively packed week in news. The main stuff that kind of stuck out to me, because there was other stuff that kind of was announced, like Lovecraft Country got canceled, Tomorrow War's getting a sequel, crap like that. But the main thing that I wanted to just kind of shout out real quick, Chris Stuckman, YouTuber, reviewer, Chris Stuckman is directing a horror movie, and I think he's got a contract for a couple more. Good for him. I think I've seen he directed a couple of years back. I don't remember if I've seen it or not. I feel like I have, but the fact that I can't remember doesn't really bode well for that short. But he's a huge horror fan, so I think this will definitely be something to look forward to. I think it'll be about a group of like online ghost hunters, which is kind of the perfect thing for him to direct. He's a horror fan, he's a YouTuber, so it's like this kind of fits into his realm of expertise, his realm of passion. So that looks like it'll be good. I don't think there was really anything else that was like super huge that I just wanted to like shoot out, because there was like Marvel's not doing the 6-year contracts now. They're sticking to 2 to 3 years. Okay, cool. Stuff like that. It's all right. But today is going to be a shorter episode because we don't have This Week in Movie News, which usually takes about 30 to 40 minutes of every episode. And the topic that I just wanted to talk about real quick, just so you guys have something to listen to, something to watch on Monday, today, I guess. So I just wanted to put something together real quick before I left for vacation, just for you guys to listen to today. I want to talk about something I noticed this past week, something that has consistently pissed me off, consistently just made me roll my eyes and question the sanity of people. It's not going to be anything like too outside the realms of movies. It still has to do with movies. So, last week, the Tomorrow War came out. I watched it. It's pretty good. I thought it was very fun. Out of all of like the dumb fun movies that have come out this year, I think this is the best one. It's better than Kong vs. Godzilla, or I think it's called Godzilla vs. Kong. I don't remember. It's more natural for me to say Kong vs. Godzilla, but it's better than that. It's better than Mortal Kombat, better than Army of the Dead. Those are kind of like the big blockbuster dumb fun movies. I think Tomorrow War is better than all of them because there's a bit of emotional stakes to it. So I liked it. But that came out, And there was a lot of angry people online. And this has been happening for at least a year or two. Um, People who are coming out and voicing their disdain for Chris Pratt. I have nothing against him. I think he's a really good dude. He's a funny actor. I've been a fan of him since Parks and Recreation. He, as Andy, he was great as Andy. He works well as kind of a comedic, fun character, which he doesn't play in the Tomorrow War, but I think he pulls that off relatively well. He definitely works more in a comedy setting. He definitely has more of the comedic charisma rather than something like Will Smith, who has like the action movie man charisma. But people were coming out and voicing disdain, voicing anger with him. For the main reasons I could find were A, he is a Christian. B, he is conservative. C, he voted for Trump, and I think those are the main ones. And all three of them kind of irked me a little bit, because first off, like it wasn't like, oh, I can't believe he did this, or oh well, I wish he didn't do it. It was like vile. It was a vile sense of disdain, like so strong that people were coming out against him, right? It wasn't just, oh, I don't like his opinion on this. So, it was like people coming out saying he's evil, he's the worst type of human being. I think there were tweets of people like wishing for his death. And I read some of these tweets and I'm just like, first off, how do you not have anything in your life going on right now to where you have enough time to just constantly put out tweets about a celebrity and voice such vile disdain, such hatred, like permeable hatred? Like I can feel the hatred coming through the tweet every time this guy has a project come out. Because I think it happened like the last time Chris Pratt had like a movie come out. I think when Endgame came out, there was some crap coming out about this. So this has been going on for a little while. And I don't understand it. First off, I'm going to say this. There's nothing wrong with any three of the reasons people hate him. There's nothing wrong with being a Christian. I am, in fact, a Christian. Nothing wrong with being conservative or voting for Trump. There's nothing wrong with that. We live in America where people get to make their own decisions and have their own views or belief systems. And on the flip side, nothing wrong with being an atheist. Nothing wrong with being a liberal. Nothing wrong with voting for Biden on a personal level. Like, I can have my agreements and disagreements with any of those views or any of those viewpoints, worldviews. But in terms of morality, I don't think there's, like, I'm not better than you because I'm a Christian. I don't think you're worse than me for voting for the person I didn't vote for, So first off, the fact that you have such vile hatred over those things is a little silly, but also the Christian part is more of an accusation from another actor that claimed the church he went to hates gay people, hates trans people. And he has said like the church, everything the church stands for doesn't necessarily represent what he stands for. So first off, he has said that, but also, as far as I'm aware of, or as far as I've seen, the church he goes to doesn't say they hate gay people or hate trans people. And they seem to open their doors to everyone, which all churches should do. They should open their doors to everybody. Most churches do that. Most churches open their doors to everyone because we're all the same. We're all sinners, and based off of the Bible, we're all sinners. We all are undeserving of love and all that, but it's through mercy in which we receive love. So if we've received mercy and we've received love from God, we should offer it to everyone else because we are all sinners. We're all on the same level of morality. So there's that. So it's based off of the church he goes to, not necessarily what he has stated he believes. And then conservative, they believe he's conservative because he once wore a "Don't Tread on Me" shirt, which, granted, it's a bit of a conservative thing, but he hasn't outwardly stated his politics. He's never said, like, oh yeah, I'm trying to think of like a political hot topic. Oh yeah, abortion is bad. Something like that. He's never outwardly stated any political beliefs on that level. He's been very patriotic, very open about thanking military men and women who gave up their lives, gave up their time, gave up their health to fight for us. He's been very open about, I think, been very open about supporting police officers. But besides that, most people still support that. Most people are for, at the very least, like, supporting the individual members who choose to go into those fields to do good. So I don't think that's necessarily a conservative view. And then the last one is he voted for Trump. We don't know who he voted for. He never stated who he voted for. The only bit of evidence you even have that he voted for Trump is that his name wasn't on a list of some Avengers cast members going to a Biden banquet. Like, he wasn't the only one who didn't go to that. It wasn't like the entire cast of the Avengers showed up and Chris Pratt was the only person who didn't. It was some of them went, some of them didn't, but because Chris Pratt particularly didn't, well, he had to have voted for Trump. We don't know who he voted for. In fact, the only thing we have in terms of political candidates, he donated money to Barack Obama like 10 years ago. So, if anything, he didn't vote for Trump, if you want to go on slim evidence. But at the end of the day, this man didn't express who he was voting for purposefully because he doesn't give a crap about politics. He doesn't want to push his personal views. And I think that's largely what most people are pissed off at, because we're so used to celebrities just telling us what to think, telling us what political positions are right. And when a celebrity doesn't do that, we assume that it's because they have in our views, the wrong position, the evil position. And that's simply not true. And I do not understand why people hate Chris Pratt so much. Because by all accounts, he has never said a mean thing about anyone. He's never been had disdain, never spewed hate at anyone. He's always treated people with respect and kindness and love. I mean, if you talk to any of his co-stars on Guardians of the Galaxy, all of them say that he just is such a good person on set. You had freaking Mark Ruffalo standing up for this guy, someone who is notoriously socialist, has stood up for quote-unquote canceling people before with the wrong opinions, but because he hangs out with Chris Pratt, he knows who Chris Pratt is, so even Mark Ruffalo is standing up for this guy. And look, I'm glad people stood up for him, particularly Robert Downey Jr., who, he's also a really good dude. He doesn't get into politics a lot. I think he attended the Biden banquet, but he's generally, like, he treats people well. He doesn't try to, like, shove down what he believes down your throat. He just lives his life, But you had Mark Ruffalo standing up for him, who is openly socialist, openly a Bernie Sanders supporter, for all that. And granted, Mark Ruffalo has kind of stood by on people he didn't know and kind of has supported canceling and deplatforming. But now he's standing up for someone because he knows it's one of his buddies. So you can have your criticisms there. But in this situation, the fact that you have someone who has been for this, standing up for this guy, has to tell you, like, Chris isn't an evil guy. If someone who on the polar opposite of the political scale that you assume Chris to be on, stands up for him, then why the crap are you still going after him? But instead, Mark Ruffalo stands up for him, and suddenly, oh, you're a traitor. You're standing up for this hateful bigot. Please tell me where Chris has been a hateful bigot, please, because all you do is claim that he is, and then provide no evidence. It's all based on assumptions, all based on reading into things and trying to infer based off of vague clues, like you're freaking Sherlock Holmes. And then when you want to cancel the guy over, you want to derail his life. You want him to not have a job, not have a family. You want him to be a homeless bum on the side of the road. Or worse, I've seen people say they want to kill him. So you want to do all of this based off of 5 vague kind of clues that you piece together like a crappy jigsaw puzzle. You took 2 jigsaw puzzle pieces that don't fit, and you're trying to cram them together because of your because of your assumptions. Because you're going into this with your conclusion in mind, so you're just going to jam the puzzle pieces together until it looks like a freaking Picasso painting, and you're going to say, see, that makes sense. No knock on Picasso, by the way. I'm not really a huge art person, but at the very least, Picasso had intentions with where he went with it. But you know that illustrates what I'm saying is you're trying to jam something into a complete picture, but you're making something that's super abstract and saying, see, it's very clear where my conclusion is, when it isn't. So please just leave freaking Chris Pratt alone. Can we just not? And this is like a problem with just our current culture in general, which is if you don't agree with the mainstream narrative verbatim, like not even just if you generally agree, like if, you know, with me, I can kind of point out a couple things and go, oh, okay, I can roll with that, or, oh, I agree with that. But then you say something else and I'm like, yeah, no, that's wrong. Okay, you're canceled. You have to agree with every little thing and they're going to come after you. Granted, the reason Chris Pratt doesn't get canceled, the reason, and I think this was a quote from Gina Carano, they can't cancel you if you don't let them. But the fact that there is this just giant mob of people online who desire to force you out of a job, make sure you don't have a life, all because you don't express every single opinion that they have, is messed up. And this is why I don't have Twitter. This is why I never want to get a Twitter, is because if you say the wrong thing, suddenly you're having people flood your mentions, you're having people talking to you, spewing hatred because you didn't agree with a tax policy or something, you know? Just let people have their opinions, because that isn't wrong. I can disagree with you on something. I can even say I don't like the implications of where you're going with this. But you didn't do anything illegal. You're being respectful with your opinions, I hope. And if you express your opinions respectfully towards me, I'm not going to have any disdain with you. I'm not going to have any beef. I hang out with people who I disagree with on very serious political topics, but we hang out and we're friendly because we respect each other as human beings. And that's okay. I'm not trying to actively go out and say they don't deserve to live. They don't deserve to have a family. They don't deserve to have jobs. I just respect them as human beings and go with it, because that's what we do. We are here on Earth to love each other and to support each other. And if we can't do that through differences and disagreements, then who are we? We're just going to behave like animals and tear each other down because we brush past each other. That's what animals do. Animals will go at each other's throats because both of them are into the same female, right? Oh, well, we can't have that. We're just going to have to fight to the death then. That's the same kind of mentality that's going on here. It's, oh, we both are trying to accomplish something similar, but because we clash with each other in terms of that, well, one of us is going to just have to die, have to not be able to live anymore, not make a living anymore. It's effectively kind of what we're doing. I don't know. I thought of that metaphor kind of off the top of my head. I have no show notes. I usually type them up in the Google Docs, but I can't access the Google Docs because I don't have internet. So this is just kind of me rambling, if you will. So there's no like bullet points. This is just me rambling, at the very least trying to get a decently length podcast episode out to you. It's obviously not going to get an hour, but that's okay. I honestly, I don't really have a lot else to say on the topic, but I will say this. Leave Chris Pratt alone. Like, he doesn't have to express his politics on either side. Like, look, I let me go to this too. Like, this isn't just a liberal thing. It's almost exclusively a liberal thing in terms of like, so Twitter canceling, but conservatives have done it too, and I am against it on both sides. When they tried to go after freaking James Gunn and get him canceled and actually got him fired from Disney, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, that was wrong. Sure, he posted some like ill-toned jokes about pedophilia on Twitter, but like, first off, he was a shock horror, shock comedy guru. That was kind of his bread and butter, was to shock people with the crap he said and the crap he presented. I haven't seen Slither, but I know that Slither is designed exclusively for that. I watched Super. Dude, Super has some like really shocking, horrifying crap. That was what James Gunn was in the 2000s. But even without that, he's not endorsing it. He's not like, he just made some really ill-toned jokes, and you want to cancel him for it. And I get that some people's mentality was, oh, well, this was like right after Roseanne Barr got fired and her show got canceled because she also made some ill-toned jokes. So it was like, oh, well, if they're going to cancel one, we got to cancel one of theirs. But that's not right. It's not, eye for an eye doesn't work in the world right now. That's not how you should be. You should just if anything, just support Roseanne in all of her endeavors and try to help her get uncanceled. And that's the best way to combat this. That's exactly what happened with Gina Carano. She got canceled, and instead of people going out and trying to cancel another liberal or another person who's, hardcore left, Gina Carano got a job with, Ben Shapiro's publication, Daily Wire, and now she's making herself a movie, and she got on Bear Grylls and got her episode out on Disney Plus. She's still doing well because she refused to get canceled and people supported her. Roseanne Barr has been on podcast episodes. She's been on, I think, Mike Tyson's podcast. She seems to be doing well for herself. So it's not like all these celebrities their lives are gonna go down the trash hole just because people on Twitter don't like it. But I guess for me, it's kind of the principle of, why do we have to be so hateful towards people because they don't agree with us on everything? Like, why do we have to express such disdain towards one another because of disagreements? I mean, this happens in almost every community. I mean, you got the freaking Star Wars community, right? You got people screaming at each other because someone likes the prequels and the prequels suck. Or, oh, well, the sequels are full of SJW, Mary Sue, bull crap. And then you have people coming back. It's like, oh, you're just a racist, sexist, homophobe. It's like, how about we just, like, have our taste in movies and just, not read into people's moral worldviews because they did or didn't like a Star Wars movie? How about we just, like, either enjoy it if you did, or have your critiques of it if you didn't, instead of just screaming across the aisles via YouTube and Twitter, right? Same with the freaking, the Snyderverse people, the Snyder cult, as they are very popularly referred to those people are actually insane. If you didn't like Zack Snyder's Justice League, or if you're like, okay, we don't need the Snyderverse anymore, Warner Brothers is moving on, these people actually try to dox you over that. They send you death threats. They've come after so many freaking people. All because you either didn't like a movie or you're fine with the director moving on and DC pursuing something different. This is the freaking world we live in, where if you don't simply agree with everything, you are the enemy. You are someone who deserves death, deserves to not have a life, deserves not to make a living simply because we don't agree on everything. And that is insane to me. That boggles my mind. The fact that this is kind of just an accepted thing, right? Sure, there's people who call it out, but there's no active way to combat. I guess the frustrating thing is there is no active way to combat it. But the fact that this is such a widespread thing where people can actually lose jobs because they don't share the same worldview or the same opinions as other people. The fact that you can just kind of make up crap about people. I mean, with Chris Pratt, we don't know if he voted for Trump. People are just making that crap up, and people believe it and are trying to force him out of a job because of it. Like, people made crap up. Look at, I shouted him out before on a previous episode, but look at freaking Andy Signor, Popcorn Planet, right? He has proof that he is not what he has been accused to be. Yes, he's an adulterer. And as a Christian, that is something that I don't appreciate, that most people don't appreciate. But at the very least, he acknowledged that he did something wrong and he's moving on. And all the other crap that he made he did a Bill Cosby, let's say that. People compare him to Bill Cosby. I'm trying to keep it relatively clean. But people are like accusing him of being like Bill Cosby. And he has receipts, he has proof that he didn't do it. But people just make that crap up because one person made that crap up. And now there's just an entire sector of the internet, an entire sector of Twitter that just assumes Andy is this predator, this evil person, just because they can't accept the fact that they're wrong, that the person who initially made this stuff up about him is wrong. So they just live with that assumption. It's so impossible for me to wrap my head around, because at least for me, the way I live my life is, golden rule, treat your neighbors the way you want to be treated. Sure, I slip up with that. I have, sometimes I get angry and I get pissed off at people for no reason. I butt heads with people over the stupidest crap. But at the very least, I try to make up with them. I try to apologize and we move on. And I still have good relationships with most people. I haven't had a big falling out because we've been able to work through our differences, right? That's why I don't really do the social media crap a lot, right? If someone expresses an opinion I don't agree with, I don't even express, oh, well, I disagree with that. Because I have enough experience with text message conversations where I have a group chat with some of my closest friends. And if I see a movie that I didn't like, but they like, we kind of text each other and it's like, oh, well, this didn't work for me. Well, this didn't work for me. And that crap accelerates to where it feels like we're yelling at each other, even though both of us in our minds, we feel like we're expressing ourselves in a very level-headed way. But then whenever we send it, it just seems like it's a bit more passive-aggressive than it is. That's just how text works. There's no context. There's no insight to how the person's expressing themselves. There's no tone to it. It's just text. So you read it however it feels like it's reading. So there's no purpose on disagreeing online because people are just going to be insane anyways. But two, it's really hard to have a genuine conversation with people if it's not face to face. So, like I enjoy social media. I think it does a lot of good. That's how I get a lot of the news for my This Week in Movie News segments. But honestly, it's just so frustrating to see some of this crap. And I'm not going to say I wish it didn't exist, because if it didn't exist, I couldn't be doing this right now. I couldn't be talking to my viewers on various social media websites and apps, right? So I'm not going to say it shouldn't exist, because there is benefit to it, but like overall, it just has made people more hateful, I think. It has just enabled people to be more hateful. The whole, like, oh, I get to be anonymous online and just say the most horrid crap is just, it's sad, man. It's just really sad. But, I mean, it just reflects that we are not perfect creatures. We are corrupt. We naturally just want to do bad things sometimes. And yeah, that's really depressing. But yeah, just kind of going back to the main topic of this. Chris Pratt's a good dude. I appreciate him as a Christian, because there's not a lot of openly Christian celebrities, people in the movie industry, and that's kind of something that I'm aspiring to be a part of. So it's really cool to see someone who is so outwardly Christian, a man who used his platform to say there is a God who loves you. And I appreciate that, and that's something that is very inspiring to me. But I mean, I like him for that. He's seems to practice what he preaches. He's always loving on people, looking for ways to be charitable, be loving to his neighbors, reach out to those in need. And I appreciate that a lot about him. Plus, I mean, now his father-in-law is Arnold Schwarzenegger, so that's pretty cool too. But yeah, he's a good dude. So just leave him alone, man. Just let him make his movies. If he's not doing anything to you or not doing anything bad to anyone else, dude, just let him have his opinions on crap. Even if you don't know what they are. Just let him do what he's paid to do. Make movies and act in movies, right? You're treating him like he's Bill Cosby. You're treating him like he's Roman Polanski. That's the director, right, who allegedly had a relationship with a minor, I'm pretty sure. The guy who now lives in Italy. But, whatever. You're treating him like they're those people. Like he's Kevin Spacey. Like he's freaking David Duke. Because you're just assuming crap about him that even those assumptions aren't really that as bad as you think they are. So just leave him alone. Let him freaking live his life. I mean, he probably doesn't read those tweets anyways, so you're just wasting your breath. It's just us normal people who have to, like, hear about this or read it, and it's just like, this just makes me sad for the human race, to be honest. Like, you're doing nothing here except just trying to ruin a man's life because you assume his views are different than you. And that's kind of sad. How about you just get off of social media and, I don't know, get a job, go live life, meet a girl, meet a boy, have some kids. just enjoy life. I mean, I barely leave the house. That's something I need to fix, but I mean, I've been out to Arizona. There's a beautiful desert out there. I've been out to Colorado. There's beautiful mountains. I mean, even just, I got 2 dogs. Just even going outside to go for a walk or just sitting on the couch and watch a movie while they're just sitting there. Spending time with my family, my friends. Puts me in a good mood, makes me feel better. Like, just go do that kind of stuff. Like, do you really have to, like, is your life really just not, is your life just that good to where you can just afford to sit down for hours at a time and tweet a bunch of crap about a guy who isn't even that bad of a dude? I don't know. It just seems very sad to me. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's dang it. I thought I was about to get through this whole thing without coughing. I got a little bit of sinuses still left. So, if my voice doesn't sound the greatest, that's probably why. But yeah, that's about it. I noticed this crap kind of come back up, and I was just like, I kind of wanted to say something about it, and there really wasn't a better way to do this, but since I'm going out of town and I didn't really have the time, and the fact that my internet is kind of just is kind of bottoming out and then resuscitating itself only to jump off a cliff the next day. I didn't really have the resources at my disposal to do a proper show, so that's kind of why this is going on vacation and all this. So this is something I'm recording earlier in the week, so I at least have something to put out to you guys. Hopefully the internet comes back long enough to where I can actually load it up on YouTube and crap, push it out. But yeah, at the very least, let's wrap it up with release radar and weekly recommendations. I don't have any graphics for you this week because, once again, I have to get those graphics from the internet, and the internet refuses to come back to us. So the only things for release radar, I mean, obviously Black Widow's coming out this weekend. Where we're going on vacation, actually, there's an IMAX theater, so I'm going to go watch it there, which will probably be fun. Fear Street 2 got put on Netflix. I watched it this morning. Really fun. I think it's a little worse, or not as good as the first one, but it's still very fun. It's more reminiscent of Friday the 13th Sleepaway Camp. So if you enjoyed the first one, or if you enjoy Friday the 13th Sleepaway Camp, you'll enjoy this. What else? The Patrick Star Show. That looks awful and atrocious, and it pisses me off what they're doing to Steven Hillenburg. And I could easily do an entire episode about that whole thing. So don't go watch that. Don't support that at all. There's a Resident Evil show that got put on Netflix. I've heard mixed things about it. I think that's about it for the weekly, or for the new stuff coming out. Let me pull it up. I think, yeah. Oh, Monsters at Work. There's a new Disney Plus show about Monsters, Inc. folks. So if you want to watch that, and then the Simpsons Avengers Endgame adaptation or whatever is coming out, and then there's a Gossip Girl reboot. So if that's that's something that interests you, go check it out. But yeah, my weekly recommendations. I actually have two this week, because I'm gonna recommend one just because support Chris Pratt, man. He's a good person, and he makes good movies sometimes. So he's someone I will advocate for. So go watch Tomorrow War. Go support him in that, because this was a pretty big movie, kind of a movie that he seems to be very passionate about. Yvonne Strahovski is in it. She's very good in it. J.K. Simmons, I forgot he was in it. J.K. Simmons was fantastic in it. It's a fun time on Amazon Prime. Just sit down on your couch and watch it. Really solid movie. And then I'm also going to recommend something I watched yesterday, which is Interstellar. That was the only Christopher Nolan movie I have not seen yet. Watched it for the first time on a 4K television with a surround sound system. Oh my gosh, that was a great experience, even though the 4K player kind of messed up a little bit in the middle of the climax, so we had to kind of take the disc out, put it back in, reload everything, which was pretty funny. But overall, I mean, it's a really good movie. I did not expect to be as emotionally invested in it as I was, because usually Christopher Nolan doesn't make movies that are meant to be super emotional. Even with something like The Dark Knight, which is still my favorite Nolan movie, there's not intense emotional scenes. This is really the big emotional Christopher Nolan movie, the most intimate, and I really enjoy that part about it. It's the best looking one. All the space shots are just beautiful. But yeah, I highly recommend that movie. Yeah, go check all those out. Make your opinions known about it. Just, yeah. Goodness. Sorry, allergies, all that crap. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, thank you for listening to this relatively shorter episode. I mean, it's been about, it's still been about 41 minutes, so it's not as short as I thought this was gonna be, but that's fine. Thank you for joining for this week's episode of the Cinema Lounge. My name has been Garrett Inman. Check us out on YouTube, press the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about the whole Chris Pratt thing? Do you think it's silly, or am I just not seeing something with that? You know, did you watch any of the movies I recommended this week? What did you think about those? Check us out on Rumble. Give us a Rumble. Give us a subscribe on Rumble. Follow us on Instagram at the Cinema Lounge. Follow us on Spotify. Rate us and follow us on Apple Podcast. Anywhere else you listen to podcasts, go follow us there. Check us out there at the Cinema Lounge. And yeah, it's been a relatively shorter episode, and I appreciate you guys for continuing to check us out, continuing to watch, continuing to listen. I really appreciate it. It's been a slow growth, but that's fine. And I'm sorry for all the lip smacking, because I can hear that in my headphones. And I think I'm doing it more this episode than the rest of them, but that's fine. Thank you for joining us for the Cinema Lounge podcast. My name has been Garrett Inman. I love you all very much. Good night. And remember, Chris Pratt did nothing wrong. Good night, everybody.